What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the At the Horn podcast. My name is Sammy Hall, and I'm joined by almost everyone today. Evan Stern, Evan Levine, and Nick Valenti. Anthony Bimbo is out due to work obligations, but he sent in his Week 15 picks, which will be the topic of today's podcast. Before I move on, guys, how are we all doing today?
Fantastic.
Very good.
Good. Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned, today is kind of a Week 15 picks podcast. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about Week 14, but we'll see. We'll do it as we think is necessary, and we'll just make our picks. So to recap how everyone did in Week 14, overall for the podcast, pretty solid outing. Everyone went 12-4 except for yours truly, as I found myself sitting at 7-9 for the week. And I don't know if you guys listened to the previous podcast, but I made a lot of picks. Like picks where I was the only guy who took that team. Like I went against the consensus and it just did not pay off for me. So updated overall standings. Nick finds himself in first at 22-9. Nick did not pick the first pick, but we're going based off like win percentage. Nick's in first 22-9. Actually, I don't really know the math. Evan Levine is 32-14. That might be higher. All right. I'll just read off the
records. I'll bang out the math for you right now.
Yeah. So Evan Levine's 32-14. Stern is 30-16. After my dreaded performance, I'm at 25-19. So I went from second to fifth. Anthony's 27-17, and then did I mention everyone? Nick 22-9, me 25-19. I think I did.
I'm ahead of Levine by literally 0.5%.
Okay, so the standings would go. I don't know if I mentioned Stern's 30-16. So it's Nick, Evan Levine, Stern, Anthony, and then me in the doghouse. But I'll be looking to rebound this week with an interesting slate of Week 15 games that I guess we'll just jump right into if you guys are cool with that.
Born ready.
Of course, Sam.
So, to kick it off, Thursday Night Football, where the Los Angeles Chargers travel, I guess not too far, to Las Vegas to play the division rivals and the Oakland Raiders. For me, this is a huge game for the Raiders in terms of playoff positioning, a game they got to have. And I think Derek Carr tonight on Thursday Night Football, we're actually recording this a couple minutes before the game here. So I'll take Derek Carr and the Raiders at home on Thursday night to keep their season alive.
So, look, I'm going to be completely honest here. The Raiders right now are devastated on defense this week due to guys that are between injured and COVID list. Yes, they are fighting for their season, but I actually like the Chargers this week, so I'm picking them.
I'm going to roll with Stern here, and, the reason why is, like you said, the Raiders are missing 4 starters on that already putrid defense that they're sending out on the field. And, the offense really hasn't looked great. Josh Jacobs isn't at 100%. And the only other guy that they really got there is Darren Waller. I mean, they almost lost to the goddamn Jets. That's a problem. The Colts ended up pulling away from them. They had the offensive performance there, but the defense just can't hold with anyone. And I think, Herbert, he hasn't been the same Herbert that we saw at the beginning of the season. I think this is the game where Herbert comes back, 300-plus passing yards, Herbert. And, don't get me wrong, the Chargers are not a very good football team, not the greatest coaches, not a good staff. But, I think they're going to rely on Eckler. I think they're going to rely on Herbert. I don't think Keenan Allen's at 100%, but I think the Chargers pull off a little surprise here and win the game.
Yeah, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both on a snap count tonight, so it'll be interesting to see.
Probably be an Eckler.
I think
huge game for Eckler.
A freaking monster game.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm also going to take the Chargers in this one. I think.
Why is everyone? You got to take the Raiders, man.
I'm not taking the Raiders. I think the Chargers offense is way too good for this defense.
I'm not taking the Raiders. All right, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think the Chargers offense is really good, and I think the Las Vegas defense has been performing pretty horribly, giving up 44 points to the Colts and who did they play the week before? The Jets, and giving up 28 points to the Jets. So that's just pretty inexcusable. So, and
Just an overrated team in general.
yeah, I'm really thinking that they're pretty overrated. I know Stern had some opinions on them when they beat Kansas City and almost beat them again, but I think their defense has.
No, I said that was more of a Kansas City fault than it was a Raiders.
Yeah, penalties played a huge role in that game too. Kansas City missed out on like 3 touchdowns because of penalties in that game.
Well, anyways, I'm going to take the Chargers.
Okay, so once again, I find myself alone. So I guess, boy, that
How
doesn't
about
bode
Anthony?
for my chances. Oh, actually, yeah, you make a good point. Anthony,
Yeah.
who did he take? Oh, he did take the Raiders. Okay, so I guess I'm not alone. Yeah, we have Anthony's picks on my phone here, so I'll just go along. So the second game, first Saturday night game of the year, the Buffalo Bills traveling to Mile High to play the Broncos. And for me, I will be taking the Bills. I don't have much of a reasoning. I just think they're a better team. And after me taking a lot of upsets last week, I think it's time I go safe or a little bit more chalk this week. So I'm gonna go with the Bills here.
Yeah, the Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs connection gets better every single week. And this week, Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley both go over 100. Big week for the Bills getting the win.
Yeah, I mean Josh Allen's proving that he's a really good quarterback, and Stephon Diggs is, if you ask me now, I think he's better than his former counterpart Adam Thielen with the way he's playing this season. He's absolutely going off, being a number one receiver. I think the defense is forming up at the right time too, and I don't think this Broncos team is really a threat. I mean, Drew Lock had a decent game last week. It was against the Panthers. Their defense is so young, like, and raw. Drew Lock's still not the answer either, I think, but nonetheless, give me the Bills.
The Bills are hot right now. I think I'm going to take the Bills also. The defense for the Broncos is not good right now without Von Miller. I think that, as I said before, the Bills are hot because they're on a 3-game win streak. They beat Chargers, San Francisco, and Pittsburgh. I think they're going to extend it against this Denver team.
Okay, so clean sweep for Buffalo on Saturday night and the other Saturday night game. A good matchup in the NFC.
Don't forget about
Carolina
Bims.
facing Green Bay Packers. Anthony took the Bills. Sorry. Carolina facing Green Bay in the last Saturday game. I feel like this has a potential to be a better game than most people might think. Carolina's a tough team. They're going to play them tough. They have a lot of good guys. I don't know about their COVID situation, actually, like who's playing or who's not. But either way, I'm going to take the Packers. But I think it will be a closer game than maybe most people anticipate. But I will go with the Packers. And so will Anthony. So I don't forget. Anthony's also taking the Packers.
I'm also taking the Packers, and I don't think it'll really be close either.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why you think this is a close game. I mean, Drew Lock just beat up on the Panthers, and I think Aaron Rodgers is just a little bit better than Drew Lock, just by a little bit. So I'm going to take the Packers.
Well,
He's overrated.
Before Evan goes, I just want to explain my reason for Carolina. They had a bad game last week, but I feel like Carolina's a team that always plays every game tough. They don't necessarily win every game, but I don't think that Carolina's the type of team to just get blown out. I think Matt Rule's a pretty solid rookie head coach, albeit, but I think he's still very solid. So I think it will be closer than most people anticipate. I could be wrong. I have a history of being wrong, clearly, based on my record, but I'll just take the Packers.
I'm taking the Packers here because the Panthers are bad.
Thanks.
Not because Aaron Rodgers is like in the GOAT conversation, though, right?
Dude, look at his
No
face.
comment?
He has no
No
idea
comment?
what to say.
The camera goes off. Okay. Another clean sweep for the Packers. The next game, so first Sunday game here, San Francisco traveling to play the Dallas Cowboys. Anthony has the Cowboys. San Francisco frustrates me a ton. They're a very inconsistent team. I get they're injured a lot. They really haven't been that competitive under Nick Mullins, although in week 3, they absolutely lit up the Giants. So I always have the perception in my head that San Francisco is pretty solid, but they haven't been doing much to help us out in the NFC East here. But I'm going to go with San Francisco in hopes that they can take down the Dallas Cowboys, a team they should beat because the Cowboys are not very good. So I'll take San Francisco.
Yeah, this is like one of those games where it's like just another bad matchup between two pretty bad teams here, and like I'm conflicted. But kind of went with my gut with all those games last week, and it turned out pretty well. I'm gonna go with my gut again, and my gut tells me to pick the 49ers. And to be honest, I don't really know why. I think the 49ers, it's literally a must-win game for them if they want any hopes of even a possibility in the wild card spot. And I think that Kyle Shanahan's a good coach and they'll figure it out, but they're just too inconsistent. So I don't really know. But nonetheless, I'll still pick 49ers.
Sam, is this game being played in Arizona or is it being played in Dallas?
It is being played in Jerry's World in Dallas. One of the few
See.
stadiums that do have fans. I'll say.
Makes it a little more interesting. Honestly, like I feel like this is just a coin flip between these two teams. I mean, these two teams really, I mean, the 49ers, they came out a few weeks ago and they were like competitive against the Rams, but like, I mean, just like being honest, like they're really not that good of a football team right now. They got a lot of injuries. I think the Cowboys had Dak right now too. I'd probably just take the Cowboys in like a second. But, oh God, this is tough. I'm definitely not going to watch this game for sure.
I don't know if it'll even be on TV.
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys for absolutely no particular reason.
Fair enough.
I'm going to go with the 49ers. I just think they're a better team. No particular reason. I don't know much about these two teams this year because
Evan, I
they're
feel like a
both
lot of
pretty
your picks
terrible.
have no particular reason. Like you kind of just go with the consensus. It seems like okay, this game's not a consensus pick, but doesn't seem all right. You know, I'm just gonna move on to the next game before I keep going on with this.
That's a little mean.
The next game, the Seattle Seahawks playing the Washington football team, the surging Washington football team, I must say. Washington is at home. They did just no, they didn't upset the 49ers. They beat the 49ers pretty handedly. They upset the Steelers, obviously, a couple weeks ago. I'm still going to take Seattle. I think, I don't know. It seems wrong to pick against Washington right now. Although I need them to lose. So I'm going to take Seattle. Seattle's a better team. They should win this game. So I'll take Seattle.
Yeah, Washington lately has been very hot, and I think they're actually a decent football team, regardless of their record. But the Seahawks are a very good football team, and I know they had a few tough losses. But I think the Seahawks will win this week, and I think it's a good game for them to get back on track, get the wheels rolling again just before the playoffs for them.
Feel like this is going to actually be a really good game, but I don't think the Seahawks drop two games to NFC East teams. And I'm not saying that like the football team isn't a well put together team, but they're actually performing very well. Alex Smith is leading a actually surprisingly decent offense there, and the defense is killing it right now. But I'm gonna take Seattle. I'm gonna take Seattle. God damn it.
I'm going to take Seattle here for one reason only. Washington football team is on a 4-win streak right now, and I don't see them winning out. And I think that they do definitely have the potential to win out if they lose this game. If that didn't make sense.
It really didn't.
Yeah,
No.
it didn't. That's why I got confused. I know what you mean. Like if they win this game, you think they have the potential to win out.
I think the games that they're playing in the last 2 games of the season, they can win.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought you.
But I don't see them winning all 3 of their last games.
Yeah, because you think the Seahawks are going to take them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, they're on a 4-game win streak right now, so I don't think they're going to win all of their last.
You don't think they'll go on like a
games.
7-game win streak?
Yes,
is what you're saying.
Exactly.
All right, I got you. Yep.
So that is my reasoning.
There we go. All right. So Seattle, we got 5 on Seattle. Although we will not be surprised if Washington wins this game. NFC North matchup. Our next game we're going to pick the Chicago Bears facing the Minnesota Vikings. Anthony has the Vikings, and I will agree with Anthony here and take Minnesota. Chicago, great game last week. Trubisky played well. We all know Mr. Trubisky is not a great quarterback in the NFL. He hasn't been that way since he was drafted a couple years ago. He did have that one Pro Bowl season, but I'm not trying to be a Mr. Trubisky fan here.
The Pro Bowl is a joke.
Yeah, I'll take Minnesota in this game.
Nick or Evan, I'll let one of you guys go first here.
All right. See, this one's tough. I don't know. Like the Bears, they kind of looked decent last week. And I know it's against the Texans. Like the Texans aren't a stellar football team right now. And I think it's going to come down to Dan Bailey, really. I mean, he's terrible. I'm gonna stray away from the group. I'm gonna say Mitch manages the game well again. I think Allen Robinson finds the end zone again. Montgomery has a good game. I think the Bears are gonna win this one.
I'm actually also going to take the Bears here. I think Montgomery's really been hot recently. Okay. Yeah, so Montgomery's been very hot recently. He's rushed for how many yards? Let me check. He rushed for a ton of yards.
He's on a tear, 100 yards the past couple of games.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns last week, I believe. And he's playing another pretty bad defense this week in Minnesota. They're young, as I've said in many podcasts, and they have trouble stopping good running backs. So I'm going to take the Bears. Also, Bears defense been good.
Yeah, I kind of delayed this pick because I've been kind of siding with the Bears here, but I wanted to hear what you guys had to say. Anyways, I think David Montgomery has actually, the past few games, he's really turned it up, and I think the quarterback situation there sucks. They're both bad, so Trubisky's not gonna. I don't want to hear that he's good or anything like that, but I think their defense isn't terrible. The Bears, and I know they had a terrible skid this season. Would they lose like 5 or 6 straight for a while? They did not look good. I know everyone's down on them at this point, but I think that they might win this week.
So you're taking who?
I'm taking the Bears.
Okay. All right. Wow. Okay, that surprised me just a little bit. I thought more people would be okay. Anthony's on the Vikings with me, so I guess I'm not alone. I'm trying
Nerds.
It was a bad strategy for me last week, so I'm gonna try and be with the group here. This is one of the better games of the week, in my opinion. AFC East matchup between the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins played fairly well, I would say, against Kansas City. I think they're at home. New England's a very on and off team. I don't know. It's kind of like every other week, it seems like, with the Patriots. They absolutely blew out the Chargers and then 4 days later got destroyed by the Rams. Maybe this is the Patriots week.
Are you joking?
No.
Do it.
I first all the time. Someone else go and make so I can get.
Oh, okay.
I'd be happy to go. I'd be completely happy to go.
Go.
And I'm actually going to start off with this statistic that rookie quarterbacks are 7-21 versus Bill Belichick at head coach. Tua sucks this week. Terrible. Patriots defense goes off. Patriots win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw, but that Dolphins
defense. I don't believe
defense,
in Cam Newton, though, regardless. I hate him.
Yeah, I mean, that Dolphins defense was pretty stellar last week against the best quarterback in the NFL. And Cam Newton, to be quite frank, sucks. So, I mean, I'm taking the Dolphins for sure.
Hostile Stern is going to be wrong this week. The Dolphins are going to win.
Coming
this
from
game.
you, because you're a viable source here. Someone who says Aaron Rodgers is overrated, picks the Lions week in and week out, who disappoints him every single week.
So you're going to say that Cam Newton is going to thrive against this defense?
I never said Cam Newton would play a good game.
Okay, then how are they going to beat them?
They're going to beat him with defense and special teams. Mark my words, when the Patriots win, you can cry me a river like always.
I'm never going to cry you a river, ever.
You're just gonna cry Matt Patricia a river on Twitter.
I'm done.
He's the best.
The exposing right now is unreal.
Stern,
Oh
I
my
will have you
God.
know, Anthony took the Patriots, so it's a 2-2 split right now. And to break that tie, my gut, and I wouldn't be so hesitant about it if I didn't consider an upset. So I'm taking the Patriots, and I think for
Let's
the reason
go.
you mentioned, Stern, historically, rookie quarterbacks suck against the Patriots. Belichick's obviously he is the best coach ever. We saw it 2 weeks ago with Herbert, who is probably going to be the rookie of the year, him or Jefferson. So, give me the Patriots in an upset, so I'm not picking the favorite every single time. A game I will pick the favorite. Baltimore hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Baltimore played the best game of the year the other night against Cleveland. Every time you play the Jaguars,
I'm taking Baltimore. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Like, this is just obvious.
yeah, so everyone's going to take Baltimore, I assume. But I'm just to continue with my logic. I just think Baltimore's kind of gaining some momentum. They beat a really good team. They're trying to make a push for the playoffs. Harbaugh's too good of a coach to have a letdown against this awful Jacksonville team who is trying hard to get the number one pick. So, yeah, give me Baltimore.
Baltimore, no doubt.
And Stern, you picked Baltimore.
Yes, I am. I hope the Jaguars win, though.
Yeah, that would provide for some entertainment. All right, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I mentioned this before. I tried to pick Atlanta, but they just have really let me down. Bucks vying for some playoff positioning here on the road, divisional game. Nick Steristrou, every divisional game is tough and close, but I'll take the Buccaneers on the road to maintain that 6th seed and maybe leapfrog a seed depending on how the rest of the week shakes out.
The Bucks, simply because they have Tom Brady at the helm, and Tom Brady close to playoff time is a force not to be reckoned with here. And Atlanta, frankly, sucks. I know I've given them so many chances this year, and I officially hate Atlanta. Every time I think about Atlanta, I think 28-3, the best day of my life. Regardless, they're going to lose this week to Tom Brady yet again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this Atlanta team is a little bit better than like their record shows, but I mean, Matt Ryan really did not help them out at all last week against the Chargers. That was a game that they should have won. But nonetheless, something interesting is that Ronald Jones is on the COVID list right now, and he's been a pretty big factor in their offense. He's made it a lot easier for Tom Brady. So they might have to lean on Leonard Fournette a little bit, who I think is a viable option still. But, Ronald Jones has been killing it. So just thought I'd put that out there. But, I mean, I think I got to take the Buccaneers here. They're trying to make sure that they secure their playoff spot. This is a must-win game. They're going to go with the mindset like that.
I also think Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan and the Falcons. It's time for them to part ways. That's just my hot take.
Agreed. Yep.
It's a good take, Stern. Evan Levine, who you got?
I'm taking the Bucks, and I'm gonna agree with you, Stern. I think the Matt era in Atlanta should come to an end. I can see him with a different team potentially, potentially Jacksonville. I can see him in Jacksonville, but
yeah, that's fair.
Reuniting in San Francisco with Shanahan is one of my predictions.
I can see that.
I just think like with Garoppolo, like just such a fail, like they might find like a team like the Bears, because the Bears just
feels like it's a setup. You're right.
Yeah, no, because the Bears just love to take on quarterbacks with big contracts that suck. So I mean, they would be the ones to be like, oh yeah, we'll trade for Garoppolo. We'll give you a 2nd round pick for Garoppolo, and then like the Niners will just like trade for Matt Ryan or something, and like they'll see if they could still get some extra gas left out of him. So but I think that's actually a very possible option.
I can see him in Jacksonville also, though. I think they're like a pretty heavy passing team.
No, I think he could make it in Jacksonville as like a bridge quarterback if they like don't draft one this year and they want to draft one like the year after. Like he's just there for like short term at this point because he's not the same quarterback he used to.
Don't
be,
get me
honestly.
wrong. I still think Matt Ryan is a starter in the league. I don't think
I
he's
know.
bad.
Yeah, I do too. I
I
just
just
think
don't
he's
think
not
it
what he
works
used to
out in
be.
Atlanta anymore.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. So I'm taking the Bucks.
Okay, another quarterback whose days may be numbered in their respective city is Matthew Stafford in Detroit as his Lions.
Wait. Who did Anthony take?
Anthony took the Buccaneers.
Sam, you're not doing very good with this. You need to remember Anthony.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll forgive you.
Anthony took the Bucks. I was kind of on a roll there, but okay. The now I'm all screwed up. The Detroit Lions traveling to Tennessee to face the Titans, and as I mentioned, Matt Stafford could be on his way out. I don't know his deal with his injury and something up, and you can update us on that. But we'll see how that shakes out. I'll take Tennessee to wallop the Lions at home, and I don't know. Tennessee just has a great running attack. They have a couple good receivers. They're just a way better team. I don't know why I'm rambling on here. Tennessee over Detroit.
Last week, I said that Derrick Henry would rush for 200 plus yards, 2 touchdowns. I was right, and I'll do it again. Derrick Henry, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns yet again. Give me the 36 fantasy points yet again. The Lions are terrible.
I'm going to let Levine go just by the reaction on his face, and I'm going to go after him just because I want to hear what he has to say so I can make fun of him after.
So first up, update you guys on Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford has bruised cartilage.
He's got
in his
terrible
ribs,
quarterback syndrome.
Not true. Not getting into this right now. But he's not going to play. I doubt he's going to play. And their starting center, I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler. Frank Ragnow is going to – I bet he's going to be out also because he fractured his throat. So not a very good injury.
How do you fracture your throat? Seems like a very
He played the
I don't
whole
even know,
game last week with it too. Like, man's an absolute unit for just playing with a fractured throat. Like, good for him.
One of my favorite players in the offense, one of the hardest workers on the team. Love Frank Ragnow, but the Lions are going to lose this game. Their offense is going to be shorthanded this week. There's no way that they're going to be able to stop Derrick Henry. I honestly think he might rush over 300. Not 300. I think he might rush 300 yards. I'm not even gonna lie. The Lions are horrible stopping the run. They're absolutely disgusting.
God, I hope so. Does DeAndre Swift?
Are they really good at anything?
Yeah, making players bad, but
making players quit.
Stop. Anyway, the Lions are gonna lose this. I'm in full tank mode. Tank.
Wow, what a
think so they can draft.
Yeah. He really just hit the freaking spot with that one. I mean, he's right, man. The Lions stink. They should tank. Defense is terrible. I mean, there's a reason why Golladay is just trying to hold out these last few games. He just wants to sign a new deal in free agency and never step foot in Detroit ever again. Can you really blame him? I'm sure Calvin Johnson sent him a text and said, hey, just so you know, every good Detroit receiver likes to quit a little early. So I'm sure he's thinking about that. But back to the actual game, Matthew Stafford or not, the Lions stood no chance in this game. So give me the Titans.
And Anthony also took the Titans before I forget. So 5 for Tennessee. The next game, a game in the AFC South, the Houston Texans facing the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony took the Colts, and I will agree with Anthony. The Colts are 9-4, I think. Maybe no, they're 9-4, I think. And this is a game that they just can't lose. Houston is severely just underhanded. They're just the worst team in every facet. So I'll take Indianapolis pretty handedly at home.
I'm also taking Indianapolis, but I know there's going to be a few critics out there that might look back at the game they played. These two teams played, like 2 weeks ago, I think it was, maybe 3, where it was the same matchup, and Deshaun Watson and the Texans had the ball essentially on the goal line to win it, and there was a fumble recovered by the Colts to win the game. I don't think it gets that close this game. The Texans just seem to lose players every single week, and at this point they're just playing for draft picks, which is the only thing that really would make sense. So the Colts are going to win.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like what I always say. I feel like divisional games are closer than they should be. It's just because it's kind of like a matchup where the teams are very familiar with each other. But I mean, nonetheless, this Chargers team is coming off a solid week against the Raiders. Defense is not looking as strong as it used to in the first half of the season, but they still get the job done. They make really good second half adjustments too. But I mean, whether or not the Chargers offense is also clicking on all cylinders right now, they're getting T.Y. Hilton involved, which is making the pass game even better. So I got Michael Pittman Jr., who's averaging like 2 false starts a game right now, but he's still he's a good receiver. Running attack, Jonathan Taylor's been really good. I'm going to take the Colts.
Colts, Jonathan Taylor monster game. Done.
Hot take, Levine.
Effective.
If I didn't mention it, Anthony took the Colts. I think I did mention it. Okay, Philadelphia off of their best win of the season behind rookie QB Jalen Hurts. They travel to Glendale to face the Arizona Cardinals, who also throttled the Giants this past weekend. Anthony took the Cardinals. I will also take the Cardinals. If they play the way they did last week, they're kind of an unstoppable team against anyone. So I'll take Arizona. It just depends if they can keep up this level of play. But regardless, I'll take Arizona.
Yeah, I'm also taking Arizona. I know there's a lot of Jalen Hurts hype or whatever from last week. They played a pretty good game. I must give them credit. But I still am Kyler Murray's biggest fan. And I think the Cardinals are just the overall better team. So I'm picking the Cardinals this week.
Gonna fray from the group here, and I already know it's gonna bite me in the ass, but I think I gotta choose a game where I'm gonna separate myself from the group. I'm not gonna be like Sam, where no offense, Sam, but you chose a lot of games where you separated yourself last week, and it kind of hurt you. But I'm gonna choose one here, and it's gonna be this one. And I think it's just gonna be because I talked about it a little earlier before we started recording, but with running quarterbacks, obviously everyone knows Jalen Hurts is more of a run primary quarterback, but teams can't really do that much scouting on him because they don't have any NFL film on him besides last week. And I think that kind of caught the Saints off guard. They weren't really sure what to expect. I mean, he ran the ball like 20 plus times and had over 100 rushing yards. And I think it's going to be the same thing this week. They're going to kind of catch the Cardinals off guard. Another defense that isn't exactly great. They came off a good week against the Giants with a banged up Daniel Jones, who stinks anyways. Doesn't really matter if he's banged up or not. He just sucks at football. But besides that, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like that Eagles team played a pretty strong performance. And I think because Jalen Hurts provides that extra juice to their offense, I think they're going to pick up another one against the Cardinals here.
I think the Cardinals are going to win this one. I think they have to win this one if they want to stay in that one game. Well, they have to do it if they want to stay in a one game lead of the playoff spot, the last wild card spot. I think this team is going to be fired up for this game. I think we're going to see the real Jalen Hurts this game. We're going to actually see how he is in the NFL. And I think the Chargers are going to come out prepared and win this game.
Okay, so the next game, the New York Jets facing the LA Rams. And I will take the Rams. And because I don't know. I don't think I need to explain myself. Anthony also took the Rams.
No explanation necessary. The Rams.
Rams.
Los Angeles Rams.
Okay. Probably the best game of the week, the Kansas City Chiefs. Not probably, it's the best game of the week. Kansas City Chiefs traveling to New Orleans to play the Saints. And I'm not really sure about the whole Drew Brees injury situation. These are two number one seeds matching up here. A potential Super Bowl preview, who knows? Anthony took the Chiefs. And it's hard to pick against the Chiefs, man. I did it last week. It totally failed on me. Although in the first quarter last week, I thought I was a genius, but I wasn't. I'm not going to pick against the Chiefs twice. Of course, now that I say that, they're probably going to lose. But I'll take the Chiefs on the road over the Saints, but it should be a great game. So,
great game is probably the best way you could put it. I think this is a Super Bowl matchup. It's a hell of a game. It's hard to predict here. I don't know. I don't really know about the Drew Brees situation. I think probably Taysom Hill is going to end up starting, right? It makes sense to hold out Brees until he's fully healthy, I guess. I'm going to take the Chiefs in this game. I think Andy Reid's just going to outcoach Sean Payton here.
I just have a feeling that the Saints, like because of like how big this game is, they're gonna rush back Drew Brees, and it's really not gonna work out for them. And I mean, whether even if a healthy Drew Brees was playing, like I'm not sure who can stop this Chiefs team, man. These guys are just so explosive. It's insane. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs.
I'm also going to shake the Chiefs here just because I think the Chiefs are just too dominant right now. But before we go on, I want to talk about the Rams very quickly because we really didn't get to talk about them before. I honestly think this Rams team could make a Super Bowl push. I think this Rams team is very, very
I
good.
agree.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually agree too. I was kind of sold last week when they played the god awful Patriots, but anyway, I think it really depends on how their offense plays though, because I think that the defense has simply proven themselves throughout the year. Regardless, that's just a hell of a defense for them, and really, this is kind of a flip of a switch from their Super Bowl a few years ago. This year, it's more like questions about the offense and just their offensive
Yeah,
consistency. But
I agree. It's just that I think when I was thinking when we were talking about the Rams or the Chiefs and Saints game, I was really starting to think about the last time I saw Pat Mahomes like in an actual game. Well, there were many games that he was actually tested in, but the first game that I saw him tested in was the Rams versus Chiefs in that shootout game on Monday Night Football, I believe, or Sunday Night Football. I think it was Monday Night Football.
That was a great game.
Yeah, and I honestly think that the Chiefs Saints game could be a little bit like this. I think both um the Chiefs defense is good, the Saints defense is good, but I think it could be a shootout game. I don't know. I just can see this game turning into that. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Chiefs back on
that's probably the
track.
best take you've had on this
Yeah,
podcast.
I'm gonna say I want to apologize for my comment earlier about not having your own opinions because that was just stupid of me. I don't know why I said that. So my apologies, Evan. I take back what I said. So we got 5 on the Chiefs, which I find a little bit surprising. I'm not necessarily by the pick. I just thought that at least someone would go with the Saints.
I could see it going either way, to be completely honest, though.
Yeah, but we'll see. We all pick the Chiefs. It's a good pick. So next game, Sunday Night Football. The Cleveland Browns, fresh off their, terrific outing against the Baltimore Ravens. Even though they lost, they played great that game. Anthony took the Browns. Now you guys know who I'm going to take, and I don't care what you guys say. I'll take the Giants. I know it's just a
What's the reason this
I have-
week?
I have
Yeah,
to
can
defend-
you just stop?
No, I'm going to defend myself here. They probably won't have Daniel Jones. I don't know. Whoever is at quarterback, it's going to be tough for the Giants to win this game. They're going to have to get a huge performance out of their line, Gallman, Morris. Everyone's going to have to fire on all cylinders, and their offensive line really cannot allow 8 sacks, especially 5 to some random dude like Hassan Reddick. That was ridiculous last week. Their offensive line, they're going to have to limit turnovers, and I think their defense, even though they did it in Seattle, they have to play their best game of the year, and it's a lot to ask, but even without Bradbury, because Bradbury went on a COVID IL. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that's a huge loss. Every guy's going to have to step up. I think the veteran leadership of Logan Ryan, I know Stern knows a lot about Logan Ryan. I love Logan Ryan.
He's a good player.
Great pickup for the G-men. He's just the defensive quarterback. Him and Martinez have just been, and Bradbury too, have all really stepped up this year. And I think these guys, after getting kind of embarrassed by Arizona in the game they could have won, this is their chance. Their first Sunday night game in 2 years, I think. I'm trying to think. The last time they played was the Cowboys a couple years ago. So, yeah, first Sunday night game in 2 years. The whole country watching. Their season on the line. They'll know at this point whether or not Washington won or lost. If they lose, which they probably very well could to the Seahawks, the Giants could be playing for first place with 2 games to go after. So, Giants are going to be fired up. I believe in Joe Judge's Giants. I know none of you other guys will. Maybe Nick. I don't know. I'll take the Giants. I'll probably be the
I
only.
believe in Joe Judge, but I don't believe in the Giants this game. I must apologize to the Browns and company. He disrespected them all season. Last week, they opened my eyes this is probably honestly the first time I saw him play all season. National TV, they put up 42 points, I think it was. They played a hell of a game. Given they played a Ravens team that played to their max potential, which is scary. We saw that last year. So I don't think last week's loss means anything really. I think the Browns are actually a good team, and I know I was dissing on them all year. I do think they've proven themselves, and seeing Hassan Reddick last week, absolutely just you guys know. I don't need to rub it in anymore. I think Myles Garrett this week, it's a
gonna be
scary
tough.
sight.
Yeah.
What?
It's going to be tough to stop last game.
Yeah, it's a scary sight for the offensive line of the Giants after last week. But I think the Giants defense is good. The Browns will not put up 42 again, but I do like the Browns in this game.
Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, to put it quite simply. The Giants suck for many reasons. I fell into the hype last week of the Giants after that big win against Seattle, and they just royally disappointed me. A lot of yelling at the TV. I don't care who plays at quarterback, whether it's Daniel Jones at 50% or 150%. He sucks at football anyways, so I really could care less. He could throw left-handed, right-handed. He could freaking play with a clean pocket and no one rushing, and he'd still throw an interception, so I really don't care. He'd find a way to fumble with no one rushing at him. Besides the point, even if Colt McCoy plays, like, he's just a game manager who isn't really good at managing games. So, and the run game, I mean, you can only rely on the Wayne train so much, and Wayne Gallman always ends up playing like 2 series and then just like never plays the rest of the game. They play Alfred Morris, who for some reason they think he's like back in his like Redskins days or something. But, and I mean, like, the defense, missing Bradbury. There's going to be questions about who they're going to play at corner. I would hope that they would play Logan Ryan at corner because he's had experience doing that in New England and Tennessee, and then let McKinney get his first start. But the Giants, you know, they're known for making a lot of bad decisions, so they'll probably just stick some guy who was mowing his lawn or shoveling snow the other day and tell him that he's going to be the second cornerback for the Giants on Sunday. So they'll probably find some bum to do that. Isaac Yedem will be the cornerback 1. And the run defense is decent, but I still don't see them stopping Chubb and Hunt. And I don't know if I already mentioned it, but the Giants suck. So give me the Browns.
I will say, though, Evan Levine, before you go, Yadam's obviously not a great corner, but I think Yadam in his role this year has done a decent enough job.
He's improved, but he's not a corner 1. And I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but the Giants suck. So give me the Browns.
Okay. All right.
Giants suck, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Browns. I think the Browns really did prove themselves, as Stern said last week. And Kevin Stefanski is a good coach. Like, he could probably
I was
be
thinking
a coach.
about this. Kevin Stefanski has gotten no credit all year.
Yeah, exactly. I really think he could be a coach of the year candidate, but he's not going to get it.
Coach of the year, and his name never came up once.
Yeah, he's really
I feel bad
good.
about that.
He's really
so
good.
So do I. He's done a great job.
The Browns team went 0-16 4 years ago, and now they're going into the playoffs dangerous, in my opinion. Like, putting up that kind of fight against a very dangerous Ravens team was impressive to me.
I think they could very easily beat that Ravens team if they played each other again.
Yeah, I think they could definitely.
It's a matter of like the cards falling the right way.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Browns here.
All right, so we all got the Browns except for me. I guess no one believes in the Giants except for me.
Nope.
The last game, Monday Night Football, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Pittsburgh coming off 2 bad losses, 2 embarrassing losses. The Bills are good, but it was disappointing if you're a Steelers fan. They come back down to earth. This is a chance to get right. Cincinnati.
They were never good.
Okay, I think they're still pretty good.
Cupcake schedule, good. They're an RA team.
No. Okay, I can't say they're not good. They're good.
Yeah.
but they're not 11-0 good or whatever the hell they were before they lost.
Well, you're probably right about that. I'll still take the Steelers though over the Bengals on Monday night.
Yeah, I completely agree. The Bengals are terrible, and the Steelers are not going to lose 3 straight. Again, they're good, but they're not 11-1 good, and they're not Super Bowl bound. Split the win this week.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are just a bad team. And, I mean, the Steelers, they're actually going to have some questions to address in this offseason. I mean, James Conner's really not getting it done. Do you go into the draft looking for a running back? Do you sign a running back? There's going to be options this offseason for a running back. And, as for receivers, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster is decent. He's not performing what he used to because he had Antonio Brown taking up double and triple teams. It was basically just leaving him wide open. Claypool's not bad. He's a good end zone target. Deontay Johnson is so bad. Like
No. Stop.
No. Trust me.
Listen.
Like,
No,
hang on.
Good.
He's a good football player. He is just sponsoring Butterfingers right now because he cannot catch a cold on the football field. Like, I don't know what. Like, I don't know who he must be training with Evan Ingram or something, dude, because they both must be sponsored by Butterfingers because there's absolutely no way that you can just drop that many passes.
Listen,
completely agree. The drop passes is a problem, but he gets so
problem.
many targets for a reason, and he's good. I'm telling you, he's good.
Dude,
you watch his footwork, he's so quick off the line. He's so quick.
No, I agree. He has all the intangibles. He's got good speed. He's got good route running. He gets off the line. He just can't catch the ball. And once he fixes that, he's going to be a stud receiver. Like, I think he's the best receiver on that team.
DK Metcalf drops a ton of passes himself. Like, this is a problem. This is a youth problem, a young guy problem. The Steelers receiving core is very young, and I don't think that's the problem for them. Nor do I think it's James Conner. I think they need to give him the ball more and stop being so one-dimensional, as I said before. Because they were very successful with the run the first few games, and they were much more balanced.
I don't know. I mean, I still think, though, like, there's better options than Conner. I mean, Conner runs good against, some of the not as good teams, I should say. So, and then same thing, like, with Big Ben, like Big Ben's still having a decent season. He's becoming more of a game manager because of his age, but I don't know, like, what direction they go in. Do you draft a quarterback late where you are and try to send him in as the backup and, like, hope he turns into something when Big Ben finally decides to hang up the cleats? But I mean, I don't know. I think they're going to have a lot of stuff to address in the offseason. Nonetheless, though, like I already said, give me the Steelers over the Bengals.
Yeah, I think you guys covered pretty much everything. So I'm taking the Steelers. But
Okay, and that will wrap up our week 15 picks here in the NFL. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about or no?
What's going to happen with Carson Wentz? That's what I can't stop thinking about.
Indianapolis Colts.
Dude, he's signed to like a big contract for 2 more years. That's a huge commitment for them.
I know. I just think it'll be like a half and half. Like, the Colts will be like, yeah, we'll pay half. The Eagles will pay the other half. Or like, it'll be some type of split. It won't be like just straight off send and like the Colts agree to pay everything. Because like a team that's trading for Carson Wentz is not going to just pick up that contract. Like, after seeing him play this year.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So it's going to be a split, like, somehow, whether it's like 50-50 or 60-40, something like that.
I don't think Carson Wentz is going to go to the Colts. I think Matt Stafford's probably going to go to the Colts. I can see him in Denver.
I could actually see
Carson Wentz in Denver.
I don't think Matt Stafford's going anywhere.
I think the Lions are moving on. They're going in a new direction.
They should.
I think
at that point, the Lions are essentially in complete rebuild at that point, right?
They're in full rebuild mode.
Just wait till Swift leaves in like 5 years, and then you have nothing.
I think it would be a fun podcast one time, maybe at the end of the year, or actually whenever, is if we predict every team's starting quarterback for next year, because there's going to be so much movement in terms of all the rookie quarterbacks coming in, obviously Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, Trey Lance, all those guys. But there are so many veteran quarterbacks that have potential to be moved around, and there are so many teams that need a quarterback that aren't going to be able to draft one. Like, obviously, the Colts, Lions, Patriots, 49ers, Bears, come to mind. Maybe the Steelers, depending on how Roethlisberger ages. There are so many teams who are going to be with a higher draft pick that aren't going to be able to take one of those quarterbacks. So I'm excited to see how these veteran quarterbacks move. Atlanta, another team. So we'll see how that pans out.
Could Stafford go to the Steelers?
A fun
Who?
podcast.
Oh, I actually didn't think of that. I can see Stafford on the Steelers also.
That seems like a fit.
I still don't think Stafford's going to be moved.
Nick, like the press has said it every game. Like they're just not.
Oh, no. I mean, I just think that's like all like smoke. I mean,
You think?
I don't know. I just feel like it's.
I mean, I think
it-
the rib injury could definitely affect him being moved, but before this, I think
I still think there's a good
teams were
chance it
pursuing
happens.
him.
I completely believe. I think Matt Stafford's good. But I think this is similar to like Matt Ryan here. Just the fit with the team, it doesn't work. And I know it's not all his fault, obviously. Your team just sucks straight up altogether. But it's just like I feel like
Well,
they've
you're
had
not
their
wrong,
plenty of
Stern.
chances with Matt Stafford over the years, and they've just never gone anywhere. So it's time to move on.
See, this is what I've been thinking for a lot this season, especially. It's just when Matt Stafford began on this team, there were like speculation that he could be the one to finally get this team its first.
Well, yeah, he
playoff
was the
win.
number one pick in that draft. It was,
Yeah.
It was like the hope that he was going to turn the whole team around.
But more this year, I was really thinking like the Lions organization set him up to fail. They failed him so much. Like when you think about that Cowboys game in 2013, playoff game, and there was a play that's not very remembered, but the Lions were, I think it was like a 4th and 4.
The Pettigrew
And-
play, right?
What? No, not the Pettigrew play. This is a different play. And Jim Caldwell did not let Matt Stafford go for it and punted the ball instead. That play. Just, I don't like Jim Caldwell should have let Matt Stafford go for it. Like it was at the end of the game, like they're already down. But he punted the ball away and he was gonna hope for a stop, use the timeouts, try to get the ball back. It didn't work. Like I don't know.
That's a
Every time
coaching decision, though. That's not a Matt Stafford
Exactly.
problem.
No, this is what I'm saying. The organization, the coaches, set Matt Stafford up for failure. Like we
Caldwell
don't
had
know.
a winning record, though. I mean, like
Yeah,
Caldwell
well,
wasn't.
it's not just
horrible.
Caldwell. It's not Caldwell. I really like Caldwell as a coach. Like he had some problems. 7 men on the field for a play. Not getting into that. I don't want to get into it.
That's like kindergarten.
I don't want
football.
to. I don't want to talk about it. But the
Matt
Lions
Patricia was
the
the answer,
Lions
and they
are-
let go too early.
no, wrong. The Lions are just a mess.
Ah,
Like they are just a
Are you shaking?
horrible. Yes, I'm like actually shaking. The Lions are a horrible organization, but I am just drawn to them.
Well, that's because you're a fan of them. Obviously, you're drawn to them.
Yes. But
So then, who finishes last in the NFL next year? The Lions.
I think the Lions might honestly. Like I'm just accepting it that I'm going to be found the worst.
Well, if they
franchise
ship
ever. I think
off
they're gonna.
Stafford, like who's gonna want to sign with them? In
I
free
don't think they're
agency?
going to
It's just
draft
be
a quarterback
picks.
next year. I don't think they're going to trade I don't think they're going to get a draft a quarterback next year. I think
Yeah, I
they're
think they'll
gonna,
sign a
Zach
bridge
Wilson.
quarterback.
I don't think they're going to draft Zach Wilson. I was thinking
I
about it.
do.
I really like Zach Wilson. I just don't
I
think
know
they're
when
gonna
you
draft him. I think they're going to
mentioned him, I looked him up.
I think he's going to be a total tank next year, and then they're going to go for the number 1 pick. I think they're
That
going to
makes
have
sense.
Chase Daniel at the quarterback next year.
No,
I think
no,
Stafford-
no,
Yes,
no,
I
no,
think-
no, 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 no.
Yes, I think
Trust me, dude.
Stafford's
So,
going to be traded, and I think they're going to go into a full rebuild.
okay, I get that, but so let's say Stafford does get traded, which is a very good possibility that happens. There's no way the owners will allow for
Yes,
Chase
they will.
Daniel
Sam Darnold to the Lions.
Yes,
no,
they
trust
will.
me. Just let me talk for a second. It doesn't matter if they're trying to tank or not. Teams don't want to just fully out go and show that they're tanking because their fans will never want to go to a game.
Yeah,
Ever.
you're not gonna-
And by playing Chase Daniel
Right.
quarterback, that says, yeah, we don't care if people show up to games or not. We don't want ticket sales. We don't
Evan,
want this crap. Like they need a quarterback that people
That's
are going
what
to want
the
to buy their jersey.
No,
still.
Evan,
No,
listen to me.
that's
you
what the
don't
Lions-
get it, bro. You don't get it, dude.
Evan.
They're not going to play Chase Daniels for 16 games. They're
Evan,
going to go
listen
sign
to
a
me.
bridge
Dude, the
quarterback.
Patriots- The Patriots going into this year were in the exact same situation. You lose Brady, you lose everything, right? That's the same. What you're saying right now is if the Patriots were to start Brian Hoyer.
Dude, they
every
could have
game.
just plugged in Brian Hoyer or Jarrett Stidham and lost every
All right,
single
okay,
game.
well,
tank, but
maybe
they're
not
not going to
Chase
do that.
Daniel.
At least if they went in with Stidham, they knew that he was young enough to like be able to see if he was a future option. Chase Daniel is like no, he's like dead.
Chase Daniel
bad.
is
Dead.
literally
He's
a
like dead.
glorified
he's-
backup. Like that's just what he
He
is.
is,
He's
he
a
is.
backup quarterback, and they're not
He
going to play a
is
backup
Brian
quarterback
Hoyer.
for
He's
16
the same
games.
thing.
Guys, before you
They're-
go on here,
What's
go
up?
ahead. Nick. No, finish your thought. I want you to finish.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's no way the owners, like, first of all, the fans will rip you into shreds. Like, you can't play Chase Daniel at quarterback, the position that everyone's watching for 16 games. Like, even if they're like the owners go into the season and say, yeah, we're going to tank, like, you still got to sign like some bridge quarterback that makes it look like they actually like care a little bit. Like, you can't do that. They'll go out and they'll find like some guy. I mean, I don't even know who at this point. Maybe like if Foles gets cut, they just sign him. Like it's gonna be a guy that like
They can
more of a
have
well-known
Cam
name.
Newton because he fucking sucks.
Cam
Excuse
Newton's
my
terrible.
French.
Yeah, we're gonna have to blur that one out.
So I just want to say this. Evan,
One
hold on a
last
second.
thing. Okay, fine. Go ahead.
This is not related. I'm just watching the game because you might have heard me grimacing. So Chargers are up 7-3. Derek Carr, I just watched it happen. Non-contact, just yanked his groin at it seems. He just went straight to the locker room. So we'll see how the rest of this game pans out. Obviously, it doesn't look good for my pick now because I picked the Raiders. But I think that's something noteworthy to keep an eye on.
Chargers, please.
Yeah, that sucks for Derek Carr. Hopefully it's okay. I just wanted to point that out because that's pretty significant. But you can finish what your thought is, Evan.
Nick, you're not a big Derek Carr guy, are you? You don't like him, right?
I mean, I think Derek Carr is a decent quarterback. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just like, I don't know. I just don't think like he's a guy that can like really just continue to get the job done. I mean, even in a game last week where, they were being competitive with the Colts, he throws 2 costly interceptions, and like those mean stuff at the end of those games. Like, like you see some of these quarterbacks, like the top ones, like Rodgers and Mahomes, like, and besides obviously Mahomes this week when he threw multiple interceptions, but these guys aren't turning the ball over a ton like that. Like they almost never fumble and they just rarely throw interceptions. And like, I mean, Derek Carr a few weeks ago had a 3 fumble game and an interception. And, obviously like quarterbacks have their bad games and stuff. And I don't know. I just feel like people say like so much that he's so underrated that it's almost to the point where he's like overrated a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like going into this whole thing with Gruden and Carr. I don't know if you guys knew or remember about this, but Carr went through the Gruden QB camp or whatever the hell that crap is. All that junk.
I love that actually. The group.
Yeah. So like I've always kind of thought that Derek Carr with Gruden, like it might work. And I know he's not putting up the best season. The turnovers are a problem. I don't think Derek Carr is bad. I really don't. I don't think Nelson Aguilar is very good. I know he might be having a good season, but by like Raiders receivers terms, that's a good season. Like
Ruggs really isn't that good either.
Yeah, no, Ruggs has been irrelevant, a non-factor this season, which is
they just
is
have Waller
because he's good. Yeah, Darren Waller has been the only like option for them. So I don't know that like Derek Carr is really the problem there.
I think there's bigger problems.
Agreed.
Yes.
Evan Levine, what's your topic of choice?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say Mariota warming up on the sidelines here, so it looks like he's gonna go in. But
I forgot he's the backup, dude. No way. I miss him, man.
Wait, that changes things here. I think Mariota's not terrible.
He's a good
Mariota's
backup,
good.
honestly.
That's a very good back.
He's a good number 2.
I actually remember because now that you brought it up, the Mariota Gruden QB camp was interesting too. I remember watching that one. Obviously, the Gruden QB camp. If people don't know what the hell we're talking about. It was like the show that John Gruden when he was the Monday Night Football.
Clearly, Daniel Jones didn't go to it.
He had like this thing called the Gruden QB camp where he'd like break down film with like the rookie quarterbacks coming in before the NFL draft. So that was a great show. I enjoyed that. But yeah, Mariota, it's interesting to see how this game's going to change now. I think Mariota's one of the best. That's a really solid backup quarterback. I totally forgot too, actually. It sucks how Mariota turned out. That whole draft class, him and Jameis, those guys were both very good in college, Heisman finalists or Heisman winners, right? Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how the rest of this game turns out. If anyone else has any other thing to talk about, or I think we could be good wrapping it up here.
Can we talk about Daniel Jones?
Sure, we can talk about
All right.
Yeah.
Been holding this one in for a while. Daniel Jones sucks. And now let me go off with why. I know the offensive line is bad, but Daniel Jones was definitely a day 2 pick in that draft. If not, they also had the 17th pick. You could have taken him at 17. No way he was going before that. And I mean, the kid, like, he came in his rookie year and he showed some flashes of being a decent quarterback. He was putting up some big numbers. He was still turning the ball over. And then he comes into this year and he's just been absolutely horrendous. Like, he just forgot how to play football. What?
He's regressed completely from his rookie year.
Yeah. And so now, like, and then, like, there was that stretch in the middle of the season where, like, the Giants, they won a few games and it was because he wasn't turning the ball over. He was just being a game manager, kind of. And it's like, like, I look back at, like, you took a game manager with the 6th overall pick in the draft. That's what you did. And he's really not even that good of a game manager. And then, like, he came back to the same thing. He just doesn't throw very good balls. He's terrible just staying in the pocket. And his ball security is probably the worst I've ever seen out of a quarterback in my life. Like, at least Eli Manning, like, when he was in the pocket, like, and he knew someone was coming, he was able to protect the ball a little bit. Like, Daniel Jones, I feel like he's just giving it to the other team now. Like, it's honestly so hard to watch. Like, some of the throws that he just, like, last week, I specifically remember, like, he throws a slant to Darius Slayton, and it's like an entire foot behind him. Like, if Darius Slayton didn't spin around and put his hands back, like, it would have been picked off. Like, he got lucky with it. There's just so much more about him that's negative than there is positive. And, the Giants aren't going to move on from next year because I think Edelman's going to keep his job. But I mean, my God, he is so bad. I don't know what their steps are in the future, but if he has another bad season next year, just get him out, dude. He's so bad.
So here's my opinion on Daniel Jones. I think DJ was very solid his rookie year. I mean, obviously the first game was the best game of his career. Coming in after they sat Eli, and I don't remember his stats, but leaving the game-winning drive, running forward on 4th down, scoring a touchdown. I was like, okay, we finally have our guy. And obviously there was a lot of skepticism coming out in the draft. Who was that number 2 quarterback behind Murray? They thought it could have been Haskins. A lot of people rumored the Giants were going to take Haskins because Haskins was outwardly expressive about his desire to play for the Giants, or Drew Lock maybe, but they ended up going with Jones at 6. And I agree with you. 17, he could have been there. He probably would have been there. And then he was just not the 6th overall talent when Josh Allen, the pass rusher Josh Allen, obviously, was on the board. So whatever, I guess that's a moot point at this point. But now with Jones in his second year, I think the offensive line compared to last year has played better. So I don't give him that as that much of an excuse. Cam Fleming.
I will admit, Andrew Thomas is so goddamn bad at football. Holy Lord.
Their interior offensive lineman, Zeitler's solid. I think Nick Gates has been their best lineman all season, their center. And then Lemieux or Hernandez, whoever it is, that's decent enough. Their tackles have struggled. Okay, that's fine. Couple things. One, Jones' inability to hold on to the football when he gets sacked from the blind side is maybe the most irritating thing ever. It seems like my man, every single time he dropped back to pass, if he gets hit from behind, the ball just comes right out of his arms. He has no ability to just if he's like cocking it back to throw and they hit his arm, he's never going to hold on to it. It just falls out. I don't know how many times my man has fumbled over the past 2 years. Nick can attest to this. It's just extremely infuriating. He shows flashes. Like, he has a couple of good throws per game. Like, the one at Tate against the Cardinals was nice, right? He had a throw a couple weeks ago in the first quarter to Ingram down the sideline on a 3rd and 2 that ended up being for 50 yards. But there are also so many throws, like the Slayton one you mentioned, where he just completely misfires on a relatively simple route, a slant route. Every quarterback can make a slant route.
Dude, if you can't throw a slant route accurately, dude, you just suck. Like, there's no excuse. You're just terrible.
I'll defend him on that. He was hurt. But another thing is, it's just like Jones is just never. It always seems like he turns the ball over or makes a bad decision in maybe the worst possible moments. I think back to that Tampa Bay game a couple weeks ago on Monday night.
Lost to the Giants that game.
He lost the Giants a game against a team that's going to be in the playoffs, right? If they win that game, they're first in the division. That team, 52 out of those 53 guys played their best game of the season that week against the Buccaneers. But Jones with 2 turnovers on their side of the field when we're going in to score twice. Putrid turnovers, too. It's not even like he got, like, my man was just, like, throwing it off his back foot like a floater in the air right to the guy. Like, it wasn't even, like, a contested. Just extremely irritating. So, I don't want to hate on Daniel Jones. I think Jones at some points in his career has looked like pretty decent, but then there are other times where his turnover problems are just absolutely just it's hard to overcome. It's like they're always talking about, oh, it's correctable. Well, it's been how many games since he's played? Like over 20, and there's been no signs of correction or improvement. He's getting worse. Maybe due to Jason Garrett or whatever, but Jones he's struggling, man. It sucks. I root for Jones. Another thing about Jones is already in 2 years, and I'm not going to blame a guy for getting hurt, but he has his hamstring. He has another ankle this week. He had an ankle last week that cost him those 2 games. Everybody knows I'm the biggest Eli fan ever, right? And I'll always thank him for everything he's done. The best quarterback in the history of the team. It should not be understated enough that Eli, in his 16-year career, not once ever missed a game due to injury. He started every single game, barring like whether or not he got taken out.
Gino.
For Gino, yeah, right. But he started every single game. And he was always there for the team. And you never had to worry once, okay, I wonder if we're going to have to go with our backup QB this week. Never. Because Eli, I remember he played, I think back to 2008, he played second week against Green Bay with some shoulder injury. I think he like destroyed his shoulder in the opener against the Cowboys. But he played the next week. I think back to the 2011 NFC Championship where Eli got absolutely just tossed around by that ferocious San Francisco 49er defensive line. He got hit all over the place in that game. But he never once blinked. Eli stood in there and made every single throw that he needed to at the biggest of moments. And I can't thank Eli enough for everything he's done for the Giants. He's extremely underappreciated by the not national media, but like casual fans who say that he sucks. So, I don't know. I just wanted to say that about Eli. It sucks that we have to worry now that Cole McCoy might be starting multiple games every year for us, whoever our backup quarterback is, because Eli never missed a game. So, shout out to Eli. We'll see how.
Moral of the story is just that Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback.
Yeah. Jones has really disappointed me, but for our sake, hopefully he turns it around. Although he showed no signs that he can. But I don't know, Stern, Evan, Levine, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I mean it's just interesting. Like, where does the Giants go from here? Like, knowing that
I think
they gotta know that Daniel Jones just isn't the answer, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, no. Some fans, like Sam, think that you got to give him a little bit more of a shot. I just think he sucks at football. I mean, he couldn't even get a scholarship at Duke. He walked on there. Like, all right, I'm the Giants GM, all right?
You go into the draft, like first round, drafting quarterback?
First of all, the day after week 17 ends, I'm giving Daniel Jones his papers. I'm telling him to never step foot in New York ever again, including New Jersey.
Not realistic.
Yeah.
This is very
I know
hostile.
It's not realistic. Well, I hate him. Listen, I know that's not realistic because Gettleman, every GM in the NFL wants to prove that their draft picks went well. They're never going to give up on a guy too early if it was their draft pick. And then if they do come in early, they're going to try and take away the other guy's draft picks. That's why they try to get rid of Odell so fast. Yes, trust me. GMs want to have their own guys in there.
It's all about the business. Giants fans are not going to pay to go watch Daniel Jones have 3 turnovers a game.
No, I agree. No, it is definitely a business, but Dave Gettleman, and I almost swore, he's a douche. He is so stupid, and it honestly, like, it hurts the heart at this point, but he came in, and the first thing he did was trade Odell. And I know Odell's underperforming a little bit with the Browns, but I think we can all agree. Odell, I know, but he's a very good football player. Some Giants fans were happy about it. Some Giants fans were sad about it. He's still a very good football player nonetheless. Guys that come in as a GM for a team that is not performing well want to just bring in all of their own guys.
But you could make the same case for Antonio Brown, though. Like, he's a great football player. He's shown that. But he's just so toxic that any team that has him is just getting into disaster.
Oh yeah, no. I'm just using Odell as like an example of what Gettleman did when he stepped in. I'm just saying, like,
I got you.
GMs want to bring in their own guys to teams that are not succeeding. Like, Gettleman gave some of the guys that what was it, Reese, that he had before. He gave those guys a shot, and obviously, but they're not going to want to give up on their own picks. Like, the Giants wrote out Eric Flowers for so long because Jerry Reese didn't want to admit that he made a terrible pick. Eric Flowers was the worst football player in the NFL during his span at left and right tackle and wherever else they tried to throw him. I'm sure they gave him backup quarterback snaps at some point because they were trying to find out where he could play. They don't want to admit that they made a bad pick. And by cutting someone or trading them early, that means that you made a bad pick. They're not going to want to do that. But if I were a GM, I wouldn't give a flying F word if I ended up making a bad pick. Like, you just got to go out there and admit it. Daniel Jones was a stupid pick. Like, that was just dumb. That was so dumb. So what I'm doing as a GM, it's not realistic, but as a fan, I'm cutting him as early as possible. I'm going to say every swear word at him. I'm going to tell him he's the worst person ever and that I hate him. And then I'm going to tell him that he's banned from New York and New Jersey for the rest of his life. After that, we're going to find out where we're sitting in the draft. The Giants, if they don't win the division, probably going to be sitting around like 10 or somewhere. And then
before you go, Mariota just threw like a 50-yard pass in the bucket to Waller for a touchdown. That was
what a stud.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Mariota. That was ridiculous. You guys
Waller caught it.
Waller, you're gonna see this all over Instagram.
I have Waller and ESPN, baby.
No,
touchdown.
Anthony, I hate you.
Oh my God, that was a gorgeous.
What was I saying?
Go ahead, Nick. I didn't.
Yeah. So I mean, I think if I were a GM, like, you just gotta give Daniel Jones the walking papers. Not getting the job done. They're gonna be sitting, if they don't win the division, which I think they won't, around like 10, 11, 12-ish in the pick. And I think a guy like Kyle Trask is going to be there, pure passer, can step in. He's going to make those throws. He might have a little bit of trouble with like consistency, especially with the Giants, because he's not going to have a guy like Kyle Pitts to lean on like he does in Florida. I mean, Kyle Pitts is the best tight end in college football right now. Dude's an absolute beast, and the Giants don't have that number one where he can just lean on. But he's just a pure passer, great arm. He can move around in the pocket. He can run the play action. He's a good quarterback. I like Kyle Trask. I'm a Florida fan, so I'm a little bit of a bias, but I think Kyle Trask is a very good quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
Not to be like a Kyle Trask, fan.
No,
dude
I'm on the Kyle Trask train too.
I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't be mad if the Patriots drafted him in the draft upcoming. They have a shot to where they're sitting right now. They have a shot to draft him where they're sitting. But I think you bring in a guy like him, it makes sense for the Patriots. It really does. I feel like Belichick could just absolutely destroy with that.
I know. We'll see.
We probably got to cut this off. We're going so long.
Okay. Can I also keep talking about? I want to talk about that, Nick. So
and then after that, we're done.
Yeah. Okay. The Giants playing with Jones. So I know they're not going to get rid of Jones, because if you're Gettleman, your job essentially rides on the success of Daniel Jones. So you're not just going to give up on him after 2 years, and there's no really way to get out of it. So Jones is going to be the QB, right?
Yep.
But for the upcoming, I'm trying to do the math here. So after next season, you have a guy like Sam Howell, quarterback at a UNC, Slovis from USC. Like, there's going to be a couple good quarterbacks in the draft. So if you're bad enough next year, you have that route. There are also veteran quarterbacks we see who might bounce around depending on what happens that you can go with. But I think for the Giants, see, me and Nick agree on a lot of things about the state of the Giants. I think we agree that Daniel Jones has his struggles. I think
you can just say he sucks. Like, it's all right. Like,
no. I think
he's not listening to this.
We differ in terms of what we think, how we think Daniel Jones should be handled. I think Daniel Jones, as you said, I think he should get more time. And it's hard because you don't want to give a guy so much time. But I think he makes some terrible decisions, but there's also times where Jones looks really good. And I think Jason Garrett has not impressed at all in his first year as the OC. See how he does this weekend when Jason Garrett's at home. But I think Jones, in a coronavirus impacted season, it's hard. He didn't really have a chance to learn this new playbook or whatever. And I know these problems should be fixed by week 15, but still, I think you give Jones at least one more season, second year under Judge, maybe a new OC, but whoever it is, a prove it year for Jones. And if he ends up being bad, then we move on. But I think this team's at a point where they've shown that if Jones can protect the football and just make the throws when he has to, they can win based on their defense and their running game. We saw it against Seattle with Colt McCoy. Like, they can win games against good teams if they just limit the turnovers and control the field position and control the clock. Another thing that happened with the Giants this weekend, their field position control or clock management was just horrible. I mean, the Giants never started on their own, or the Cardinals never started on their own side of the field, it seems like. It seems like every time they were starting from the Giants, like 45 or based off turnovers or whatever. So, yeah, I think we give Jones a little bit more time. We'll see how he does. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I hope I'm right. But, yeah, this is a very long podcast, so we're going to cut it off here, I think, if that's okay with you guys.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody, thank you for listening to our Week 15 picks plus some other NFL debates we had afterwards. It was a fun podcast. I enjoyed doing it with you guys, and we'll be back with more podcasts. I want to do for the NBA season tips off in a week or so. Maybe we can do like an NBA season predictions kind of podcast.
Yep.
If you guys would be cool with that, I don't know. We've done a lot of football podcasts recently, so maybe some basketball and baseball would be fun.
Yeah, I like that.
Either
Final
way,
season prediction.
Got to mix it up, you know.
Yeah, we'll be back with more podcasts, and I guess until next time, take it easy, everybody. Thank you for listening.